Hello, this is Steve Sessions, CEO of the Sessions Group. We're here at World Headquarters, and this is the second of a three-part video series. We're talking about indoor air quality, mold, and asbestos. Big environmental issues that an owner is always going to be dealing with on properties. And so I've got Wade Anderson here. He's been with the firm 16 years. He's been in the industry 25 years. And so we're going to talk specifically in this video on mold. Now this is a big issue. So tell me what you know about mold, what we need to know about mold.
Well, Steve, mold is everywhere. Mold is inside, outside, again related to mushrooms, to fungi. Mold is what puts the blue in your blue cheese, and of course was one of the first antibiotics, the penicillin.
So I just had that last night. I had blue cheese crumbles.
Yep.
So I've got mold. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. That's correct.
It's not good to know.
Yeah. Again, it's when mold becomes an issue, or when mold becomes an issue, is when we have water damage, especially in Colorado's environment, very dry climate. Mm-hmm. Typically, it's going to take either water intrusion from rain events, from
that's right, keep going.
Leaking roofs, from poor maintenance of buildings, things like that. And so again, to support mold, we need some added water, and that humidity or that water, typically again in our environment or in our climate, comes from problems with the building.
So is that it just starts growing?
Correct. And actually the mold spores, they're microscopic. You don't see the spores with the naked eye. And of course some people are more susceptible to mold spores than others. We look at buildings that have persons with immune deficient, could be hospital settings, medical buildings, AIDS patients, people on chemotherapy, people coming in out of surgery or in surgery, things like that. Nursing homes is another area where immune deficient folks, and then the other side of that is not quite as serious, but is still a concern or a problem, is the indoor air quality problems or whatever associated with mold spores. If there gets to be enough spores in the air, it will affect people.
So is exposure to mold dangerous?
It can be. Again, depends on the type of mold. There's literally thousands, hundreds of thousands of different types of mold and mold spores species. And so we look at speciating of the mold when we look at air samples to determine whether or not a building has a safe concentration, if you will, of mold spores. All buildings are going to have mold spores. There's no getting away. There's no getting around that. It's a matter of keeping the mold spores in a lower concentration.
So how do I go about seeing if I have mold?
Okay.
I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Mm-hmm. Again, the rule of thumb is if you see water staining or mold growth, it's a good. The industry standard is there's no good mold in a building, so we remove the damaged materials. We should remove those in a controlled environment in containments, negative pressure using the HEPA vacuums and HEPA negative air machines, things like that, so that these mold spores aren't allowed to migrate throughout the building, because those spores will just settle out and wait for water. And as soon as water is introduced, then you'll have mold growth.
Okay. So how do you clean this stuff?
The best way is trained individuals, again companies that specialize in water remediation and or in mold remediation companies, and they will come in, they'll set up containments. If they do it right, they'll set up containments so that these spores aren't allowed to travel all throughout the building.
So again, because we're talking to owners here, so should they on an annual basis, should they do a survey, or not a survey, but an inspection, or what should an owner really do here?
Yeah, I think they should probably semi-annually at least walk through their building and look for signs of water staining. And this water staining can come from roof leaks, it can come from improperly maintained or operating HVAC systems. If the trunk lines, off of the ductwork, again, when in the air conditioning seasons, the ducts can become very cold, and then they'll condensate, and the water will drip down on ceiling tiles.
Wow.
And after a while, certainly could be enough moisture to initiate mold growth.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much. Great presentation, great understanding, and so thank you so much for joining us today. Again, if you have any questions, specific questions, don't hesitate to shoot us an email or respond below, and we'll be most responsive. So, Wade, thanks again.
Thank you.